We often fail to realize how our actions inspire others. So many times we only go through the motions of life. We get up, go to work, do our jobs, tend to our families, our personal responsibilities, before we eventually go to bed and end up doing it all again the next day. But what would happen if we actually went through our day looking for something else, something different? What would happen if we looked for little ways we could positively insert ourselves into the lives of others? Would we be happier if we were to focus on the happiness of those around us instead of our own? Basic human logic leads me to believe that if those around me are happy, that's going to create a happy environment, a more pleasant environment for me, therefore improving my happiness. Wherever there is life, there is opportunity for kindness. And in being kind, we remind others of the possibilities for life. Your generosity may help someone in a struggle break through their limits and completely redefine themselves. Through being kind, we have a chance to create a sense of happiness in others. And in doing so, we inspire kindness in them. But kindness is not about doing something for somebody because they can't. Kindness is about doing something for somebody because you can. A few years back, on a cold winter night, I stopped at a local grocery store to pick up a few things. As I entered the building, I heard someone say, "Hi, Mr. Gent." As I turned, I saw a young lady at the cash register with a smile on her face that lit up the entire room. She asked, "Do you remember me?" Honestly, I didn't remember her, even though I said I did, in order to buy myself a little more time. As I walked closer to the register, I saw her. A young girl I'd known long ago. She'd changed so much over the years, and at a glance, I hadn't recognized the face of the girl I once knew and the woman that now stood before me. "Do you remember the mittens you gave me?" she asked. "I certainly do," I replied, and this time I wasn't lying. She smiled and said, "I still have them." I stood and talked with her for a moment about how she'd been, what she was doing, and what her plans were now. And as we talked, she continued to glow at me with that smile. I felt as though she'd been waiting for me to walk in that store. Eventually, I told her how proud I was of her and how nice it was to see her before parting ways. But as I walked away, I couldn't help but think of the mittens. I bought them for her when she was very young. Winter months can be sharp and cold in the mountains, and I'd wanted to make sure she had something to keep her little hands warm. Undoubtedly, she'd far outgrown them by now, but she'd kept them after all this time. I hadn't realized how much the gift had meant to the child until that very moment. And I can remember how proud I felt as I walked away from the encounter. I've been deeply touched by her sincerity and her sense of purity. When I purchased the mittens, I never imagined they would have the impact that they did on her, and then later on me. We don't always see the happiness, the feeling of pleasure, the utter joy our kindness brings to others. And had I not walked into the store on that specific night, I might not have this story to tell. I had no expectation of ever seeing the young lady again. But I guess sometimes the things we do have a funny way of making their way back to us. So be sure you do good things. Kindness resonates and manifests itself in very different and unique ways based on the recipient's background, personality, life experiences, and upbringing. It's important for us to remember that we never truly know what another is going through. A smile will hide sadness, hurt, struggle, disparity, and suffering. A smile is often just a mask that people wear during their storms because they want to feel and appear normal. A lot of people just end up going the wrong way in life. They get lost. But you'd be surprised at how a simple act of kindness can light up the right path for them. Now, in the next few weeks, each of you is going to have an opportunity to offer a kindness to another. Don't miss that opportunity. We never know how a kind gesture will come back to us. The value of the moment with the woman at the grocery store far exceeded the value of the mittens. The moment blessed me on an immeasurable level, and I hope the story blesses you. You have to understand the critical impact that you can have on others. Despite your circumstances, despite where you're at or what you're facing, you can have a positive impact on someone else's life. And your impact could be the very thing, the only thing, that lets them know they're not alone, they are cared for, that they have value, and that they can turn things around. Spread the impact of kindness.